we should be ready. Just 5 minutes away. We'll be sitting here on this panel discussion. May we all rise. When she comes, we all rise, and then we take the national anthem, and then take a prayer. Then we all take our seats. any pastor or representative to come give us an opening prayer? Any representative, pastor?
Let's close our eyes and pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you, precious Father, for what you are bringing us to on today's agenda. We believe that you continue to help us even as by your Spirit. We thank you, Father, for your mercy, and above all, we thank you for life. Everyone that is here, Father, we pray that you continue to bore into their hearts and let them know that you are the only Savior whom we have gathered here for. We thank you, Jesus. We bless your holy name. In Jesus' mighty name we have prayed. Amen.
Thank you very much, sir. May we all sit. Good evening, everyone. Wonderful. I love the energy. I am Umpile Makokoba. I'll be Director of Ceremonies for this evening. We'll be sitting here for the Botswana's 2024 General Elections SRC panel discussion. And amongst others, maybe let me greet the Honourable Minister of Youth and Gender Affairs, Honourable Lesego Chombo. Let me also greet, amongst others, too, Open Society Africa representative, Mr. Jegan Johnson. And once again, good evening, everyone. Allow me to briefly introduce to you our guests for this evening. Let me introduce to you the Honourable Minister of Youth and Gender Affairs, Honourable Lesego Chombo. I don't think that was enough energy, but anyways. Wonderful stuff, lively. Let me introduce to you OYEBO Chairman, Bernard Bohosi. Awesome stuff. Our SRC Presidents, I won't name them, kindly wave wherever you are. Thank you. Let me introduce to you Advocacy Manager, Open Society Africa, Jegan Johnson. Wonderful. We have, amongst others, representatives from embassies, SADC Secretariat, government departments. Kindly wave wherever you are. Thank you. UB Political Science Society and UB Economic Society President. Kindly. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll be inviting over to the podium Mr. Bernard Bohosi, OYEBO Executive Director, with welcoming remarks.
Thank you so much, Mr. MC. Good evening. Let me start by welcoming Monana, the Minister of Youth and Gender Affairs, Honourable Lesego Chombo. Thank you, and thanks for coming. Unfortunately, OYEBO Chairman is not here. I'm the Executive Director, so I was promoted, to which I think 2029 I will become the specially elected Minister of Youth. And when they promote Honourable Minister Lesego Chombo to the Vice Presidency of the country. SRC Presidents, Advocacy Advisor, Open Society Africa, Jegan Johnson, representatives from embassies, SADC Secretariat, government departments, IEC, UBPSS, and UB Economic Society Presidents, distinguished guests, it is my humble pleasure to welcome the Honourable Minister le lona bagaetsho, to this memorable SRC dialogue organized by my organization, the Organization for Youth and Elections in Botswana, commonly known as OYEBO, and standing here is Bernard Bohosi, and as has been stated by the MC. By way of background, Honourable Minister, bagaetsho, OYEBO was formed by two young Botswana in 2011 and legally registered the same year in October. The organizational mandate is to provide civic education to the youth and citizens of the Republic by addressing youth voter apathy. I know it's not only you who are not interested when it comes to voting. We still have our parents, some of them 81, 85, 90 years who have never voted since independence. Furthermore, we run capacity building programs also focusing on young politicians and political party youth wins, particularly helping young women stand for electoral office. Within the University of Botswana, we have the strong relationship with the University of Botswana Political Science Society and University of Botswana Economic Society. Today we are here to talk about something that is key to our lives as students, citizens, and as leaders of today. I know someone will come stand here and refer you as leaders of tomorrow. And when is that tomorrow? When is the tomorrow? What are we waiting for? We are leaders now. Tell them that you are leaders, and now, not tomorrow. Civic education right here on our campus. Sometimes most of us, when we hear civic education, our minds think of it as a very boring topic. However, civic education is about empowering the youth demographic to be informed and responsible participants in our country. The university is a perfect training ground for the next batch of current leaders, not future leaders. Some of you here are graduates already. Some are waiting to graduate in October. So you are leaders now. You are not waiting for any tomorrow. So why is civic education, particularly today's event, so crucial on campuses? Firstly, it fosters informed decision-making. We are constantly bombarded with information, and having the right facts is important in light of fake news nowadays or today. Secondly, it cultivates active participation. A healthy democracy isn't a spectator sport. It requires engagement. Thirdly, it builds a sense of community and responsibility. We are not isolated individuals. We are part of a larger community, our universities, cities, towns, our country. Fourthly, it prepares us for the challenges of the real world. When we leave this room, we won't just be graduates with degrees. We'll be citizens entering a complex and interconnected world. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, civic education empowers us to be agents of positive change. It ignites a passion for making a difference. So what does this look like on campus? It's not just a course you take. It's in the robust debates in our classrooms, the vibrant discussion in our student unions, the volunteer initiatives led by our peers, and even the peaceful protest that reminds us of our collective power. It's about creating a campus culture where civic engagement is not just encouraged, but celebrated. Let us all embrace the opportunity that our universities offer to deepen our understanding of civic principles, to hone our skills as active citizens, and to commit ourselves to building a better future, both within our campus gates and far beyond. Today we are sitting in a room full of students, graduates, and other officials. It's unfortunate that we will hear some officials addressing university and college students as leaders of tomorrow. A question: do we ever listen to ourselves or at least make a reasonable assessment before undermining those we address? I'm referring this to the leaders who are sitting in front of me here, students. Students, graduates, and SRC presidents, you are leaders now, and let no one try to block or undermine you in your leadership. A reason at OYEBO, we want you to always display or show the citizens that you are leaders, responsible, and available for any kind of a challenging job or leadership. Honourable Minister, a reason we want the Youth Parliament to be brought back to this country, back to Botswana, so that we may continue training young people on leadership matters. Young people, students, you are intelligent and focused. Botswana is going through a challenge of economic downfall, and the citizens of this country have always waited to see you work and work hard, either in government, parastatal, or private companies. Honourable Minister, Monana, ke Monana Bagaetso. Bagaetso, thank you so much for honoring this important panel discussion by university students. Ke a leboga pula.
Thank you very much, Rebo Hosi. Indeed, youth activism is a key component of a proper functioning and a healthy democracy. And we'll be continuing with our program. Next, upon to the podium, let me invite the Open Society Africa representative, Mr. Jürgen Johnson.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister Lesego Chombo, leaders of the SRCs and members of such august bodies, members of the diplomatic and consular corps that are present here today, OYEBO Chairperson, Bernard Bogosi, respective economic societies, Program Director. Good afternoon. I, as I stand here, cannot claim to speak for 1 billion African citizens in 54 countries, but I can unequivocally make the claim that we are moving away from our collective aspirations of good governance and sound democratic practice. And I say so because the evidence points to it. The evidence shows that the level of political contestation has become fiercer, has become costlier, is more violent, and more insidious. Executive power is gradually being more dominant through the imperial presidencies that we see, creating a skewed relationship between the arms of government and upsetting the concept of separation of powers. And parliaments are increasingly being weakened. And this has affected the quality of representation and the ability for oversight by parliaments and national assemblies to hold the executive to account. So today, in 2025, if you ask African citizens, especially the youth, like yourselves, they will tell you that civic space is shrinking. They will also say to you that telling truth to power is becoming un-African, a taboo. All of a sudden, it is against our culture to criticize our leaders, and democracy and popular participation are being defined sparingly, labeled indiscriminately and compartmentalized into Western democracies and African democracies, when in reality is just democracy. The point that I'm making is that the African citizenry, like everyone else, yearns for liberty and expect accountability from their leaders, which is vested in mechanisms and institutions that are transparent and inclusive in treaties like the Democracy Charter, the AU Convention Combating Corruption, or even the African Peer Review Mechanism, of which some of you may be familiar with. And these are the golden standards of sound democratic practice in any society. Dear colleagues, as I said, I cannot claim to speak for 1 billion citizens, but if you ask citizens, they will tell you that term elongation and ruthless political contestation are arresting their development, whereby incumbencies have perfected the art of not only vote rigging, but tampering with constitutions to ensure third, fourth, and even fifth terms in office. Free and fair elections are a distant illusion in many AU member states, and democracy and rule of law are alien to these everyday realities. Dear colleagues, the futures of the young has also been mortgaged off and held to ransom by a culture of attendant corruption, crafted in many forms, most obvious or recent of which include state capture, rent-seeking behavior, repurposing state resources to benefit a cabal or a small elite grouping. In essence, the supremacy of the shadow state has taken over the constitutional state in many countries in this region and beyond. Citizens are also witnessing contradictions of what I'd like to call my partism, within political party opposition, especially the leaders, insisting on being the flag bearers for life, challenging an incumbency for decades whilst calling for term limits, yet forgetting that they have hijacked their own parties, stifled choice, generational leadership, and renewal, and the culture of democracy in the process. Colleagues, that is the face of many AU member states today. But I dare say, and I'm glad to say this, especially here at this particular present moment, that the situation that I described is not the one that Botswana has experienced. Your situation is unique. What happened on the 30th of October 2024 was nothing short of unprecedented. A generational wave of political change swept through the Kalahari Desert and the Okavango Delta and exclaimed that the future is us, that you have arrived. This political tsunami produced an unprecedented generational shift. Over a third of parliamentarians are made up of MPs under the age of 45. A statement that exclaims that you are the future and that future is now. As leaders in the SRCs, which is a platform that I understand well, since I was once in your position many decades ago, I won't tell you exactly when. At this point, I will not volunteer proactive disclosure. But many decades ago in the US, I also occupied the position of a president of the Student Government Association. And I was the first non-white person and an African to occupy such a position at Virginia Wesleyan University, which was an uncanny environment where most of the students didn't look like me and didn't come from where I came from. However, this shaped my worldview immensely. It elevated my self-awareness and civic duty to engage in activism for good and advocating for core values of rights, equity, and justice, and the early yearning to serve a cause that's bigger than oneself. And it starts with the small things, much like you involved in today. Your role in the recently ended elections has produced the historical result that is beyond tokenism. It has produced a future you wish to see and a country you wish to be in. Through the representation that you have helped curate, create, and put into power. And for that, I say well done. But you must not rest on your laurels. Your work is only just beginning. So let me leave you with a few words of advice. One, the eternal flame of democracy is vigilance, requiring consistency and systematic engagement in the process of governance through active participation. So much like a seed or a flower, it must be nurtured, it must be cared for, and protected from withering and eventual death. After all, democracies have died because they weren't jealously guarded or cared for. The message: water your flowers so that 1,000 ideas bloom. The second message I want to leave with you is that dashed expectations are always a real possibility in the chaos and noisy spaces of politics. Much like the wolf that gathered a flock of sheep at election time over who holds the keys to the corral and promised them that he will become a vegetarian once elected into office. The moral of the story: challenge unrealistic promises and avoid a buyer's remorse. Constantly ask the right and difficult questions in order to exact the pathways to impactful and plausible solutions to national challenges. And finally, dear colleagues, I'd like to say that Botswana now demands and espouses the qualities of youth, not defined in a time of life, but a state of mind, to temper, a temper of the will, a quality of imagination, a predominance of courage over timidity, the appetite for exploration and experimentation over the love of ease and handouts. Strive to take the commitment seriously, hold your government to account, respond adequately to your generation, the future that has now arrived, that demand that all be governed well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jürgen Johnson. Highly emphatic on the essence of cohesive civic societies, above all youth activism in the sharpening and development of our democracy in Africa. We should be inspired from him being the first non-white SRC leader in America. Kindly allow me to move on with the program and with the keynote address. Invite over to the podium Honourable Minister of Youth and Gender Affairs, Honourable Lesego Chombo. That round of applause.
Please be seated. Good evening. Good evening. My God. So I've been accused of this one thing. I mean, it's not an accusation, it's the truth, if we're to be honest, where I stand on these podiums and they're so formal and so tense, but by nature, I always exude a certain youthful energy, and I also have an expectation of the room to exude it back. I've done this on all stages. I think I'm the same person still in cabinet. I carry my goofiness at the UN because I think that leadership should come with a bit of personality, don't you think? Right? So I was very surprised to feel the tense energy in a room full of young people. Because if I'm to start checking your statuses, amongst other things, I will see a whole lot of personality. And that's something that you should be proud to carry with you everywhere. Importantly, the leaders of today. Ke a leboga. I get very frustrated when, just as the previous speaker said, when young people are referred to as leaders of tomorrow or leaders of the future, because the future never actually arrives. Have you thought about it? The future never arrives. The future is an hour from now, and if an hour from now we're still saying the future, then the goalpost keeps moving. So it's a scam, it's a trick, because the goalpost keeps moving. There's always a future in every moment, and quite often we don't realize that we're in the present is a future from somewhere. And even in the present, it's very frustrating when young people are being referred to as leaders of the future. Now, as a starting point, I would like to know, this is going to be very interactive. I'd like someone to tell me what they think leadership is. And don't be diplomatic, I beg you. Anyone? Thank you, my darling.
I think my name is Carol again, by the way.
Hi, Carol. I love that you called me Lesego, by the way, thank you. It's okay.
I think leadership truly is service.
Mm-hmm.
It's walking a path of purpose and anointing. Leadership, the Bible says that leaders are ordained by God. Leadership is more than just oneself. It's deciding to give your life away for the greater good and for the people around you.
Come on. I actually couldn't have said it better. Now I want to know something different. What makes a good leader? A great leader? Anyone? Yes? Hi.
My name is Tolo, and I think what makes a good leader is when they live the truth and lead by example. If I say do something, see it from me, not carrying the concept of do as I say and not what I do.
I love that. And that reminds me of one of the sayings that I live by, which is that leaders shouldn't influence change, but they should inspire change. Influencing means that I am making you do it. But inspiring means that you're watching me as I do it, the way I carry myself, amongst other things, because it's not just about the leader themselves, but that leader inspires other people to want to do things a certain way. And so I thank you for that. And I think we're ready to start. I'm ready to start speaking now that the room is more alive, right? Lovely. I remember as I was walking in, I was telling them when last was I in the university auditorium and in the library, and my most vivid memory of being in the University of Botswana library was being in the law department. I don't know if it's still called that and if it's still there, and sleeping under tables to take a break from studying. I remember the all-night section as well, and would come here with my classmates and my friends, and we'd commit, and so the only solution that we had was that we'd take turns sleeping under the tables. I also vividly remember a friend of mine, her name is Bukhadi. I remember, I think this was third year of law, which is the worst. I remember her crying in one of the conference rooms, and they have glass, so you could see her crying from the inside. And I remember all of us thinking, there's no need for us to go and console her, because actually we understand why she's crying. We too want to cry. We just can't cry when everybody's watching, but seeing someone cry and thinking, I absolutely get why. And I'm not even going to go across the room and ask why. I also remember, now that I'm in the position that I am today, I remember that when I was in the university, I never aspired to be in the position I'm in. I never associated leadership with political leadership. I felt very comfortable, very confident in the leader I was, having served my community through the charity work that I was doing. And it was so small. It was simple things like baking cakes every weekend and asking people to come get a slice of cake. In return, they should give me clothes so that I can give them to the less privileged. It was simple things like being in my final year and helping a first-year student, saving my books. Ke itse gore ke a go di hitisetsa ko mothong o mongwe. So throughout my university studies, I must tell you, I never actually associated leadership with political leadership. As she said rightly, I've always associated leadership with service. And I always thought it's service anywhere. I considered evangelism on a Saturday before a Sunday morning, where I wanted people to be brought to light and to be saved and for their burdens to be uneased, I considered that leadership. I considered, I'm not sure if the student cafe is still there, next to Sefalana. I don't know if it's still there, there was a student cafe. I used to bake cakes and I used to deliver them there. They'd sell them, and then at the end of the month, they'd take that portion and they'd give me that sum. And I considered that leadership, learning how to make money when I'm in university and easing my parents the burden, though it's not a burden, of continuing and having to contribute to my finances. And in that instance, it wasn't leadership of the country or of the community, like the other examples that I said, but it was leading my own life. And I think that's an aspect of leadership that we don't speak of well enough. And that's where it starts. How well do you lead yourself? I don't expect an answer, but I want that to be the starting point, that as we speak about leadership, quite often we think it's leading other people. It's serving other people, and it is true. But how many of us are great leaders in our own lives? How many of us are disciplined in our own lives, committed? Somebody said it's keeping your word and doing as you say and not just expecting other people to do it. Do you keep your word to yourself? Those are things that we have to think about. And I think that no one can be an incredible leader to others if they're not a great leader of their own lives. I'd like to just start on that note. And those are just some things for you to ponder on, that leadership starts with you in your own life, your discipline, whether you show up for yourself, whether you keep your own word to yourself, whether you're committed to your own life before you can commit to the lives of other people. When I was in Tertiary, I did know, however, that Tertiary wasn't just about getting my LLB and making great friends, which I did. That was so incredible. And I hope that you're also making great friends. But I knew that it plays such a pivotal role in creating the workforce of the country, and that is the very engine of our economy. I knew that it played an incredible role in building leaders, even in the sense that we speak of, which is political leadership. And even then, even when I was in university, I knew that there were so many disparities, so many inequalities, that meant that our leaders are fragmented to a certain notion, affected by cultural norms, affected by societal norms. And being in this position, I see how those thoughts are indeed a reality. That we don't have enough young people, as an example. That we don't have enough women. These are things that you know now in the university, and I pray to God that by the time you are done, you won't have to live that reality, as some of us do. Now with that, this speaks to the important role as well that universities play in terms of ensuring that from an early age, our leaders are built. I said this to the Children Consultative Forum young girls. There's the president of the Children Consultative Forum. She's absolutely brilliant, Utsana Kwana lady. And there's an SRC member as well from her cabinet, and she was emceeing at the International Youth Day. And I told them, if there's anything I want for you, is for you to start now. To start now, not just as a leader of the university, but to truly perfect your craft while you're in university, preparing to be members of parliament and members of cabinet. And that is the role that universities play, at least is the potential that universities have. As he rightly stated, It's not a potential that has been fully realized. And so we as the ministry acknowledge all of the concerns, which we do share as well, over limited civic engagement opportunities beyond voting in student elections. And we note the need for you to participate in much bigger, broader dialogues in national policy. I get dialogues in laws, in legislative consultations, in community-based initiatives that don't just affect tertiary education or education in a sense, but those that affect all of Botswana. Because I think for some reason we tend to think that students are just students, but you're not just students. You're also sisters, you're also daughters, you're also parents, some of you are. And so some of you are creatives. Some of you are innovators. And so you're not just students. And so the work that you contribute to should not just be limited to policies regarding education. And quite frankly, you're not going to be a student forever. And so it's very important for us as the ministry to partner with students to ensure that we enhance our civic engagement opportunities. We recognize the challenges as well that you have raised regarding the lack of structured civic education programs, once again, beyond tertiary education, which tend to leave many students unaware of their rights, their responsibilities, and channels to influence and governance. Would you say that bana ba e leng gore are not interested in politics know their rights? Do you think they do? Sorta, kinda? Sorta, kinda? Do you think they're aware of policy? Right? And this speaks to how a university, a place that is able to gather young people from across Botswana, from different ethnicities, from different backgrounds, is the perfect place for all of you to learn that. Not out of interest, like some of you do, having interest in politics or political science or leadership in that sense, but that every Motswana ought to know their rights, that every Motswana ought to be a part of the process of developing the country. While we're here, a side remark, how many of you have submitted your projects to the National Economic Transformation Program? 3, 4. Our leaders. I don't know, I'm also very judgmental of how no one in the front row raised their hand. How many of us, we haven't? Did you not raise your hand? He knows you know who I'm looking at. Oh my God, I'm judging you a whole lot. Yeah. But again, that's leadership. It is. It's not just standing on a podium, guys. That's leadership. And so, as a side remark, can you please go and submit your proposals and ideas to the National Economic Transformation Program. Moving on, I'd also like to note the importance, this is a very important one, still at university, of ensuring that we integrate not just civic education, but gender-sensitive civic education. How many young women in this room feel like the playing field is level? How many don't feel that way? Okay, Lily Shy. How many men in this room feel like the playing field is level? I've seen 1, 2. How many don't? I'm so proud of you. And that's very important. I always love to get into a room full of men who recognize, appreciate, acknowledge that there are gender disparities. To recognize, there's this video that I saw on TikTok, which I absolutely loved, where re una hilwe bana, a hilwe dibuka, a hilwe di pizza, a di kukile, let's race. and the woman ran faster than this man. And that's just some sort of analogy, really, to show you what we speak of when we say gender disparities, right? But with that being said, it's very important for universities, as I was saying, to not only integrate civic education into the tertiary curriculum, but as well as gender-sensitive civic education in order to nurture responsible and active citizens who can champion democratic values, equality, and inclusive development. One of my greatest values is inclusivity. I think that if something that you're doing is not beneficial to everyone, if it's for the select few, the elite, then it's not what Botswana needs. At the end of the day, all of our developments need to trickle down to all Botswana. Now, while we have all of these gaps, as I've just alluded to, we also recognize the unique role, quite frankly, impressive role as well, and impressive work that SRCs play under the leadership of their presidents to really bridge the gap between student bodies and institutional or government decision-making bodies. I know sometimes you're perceived as chaotic, but in actual fact, what you're doing is representing the students, representing the young people, and I do commend you for that. You have bridged a gap. You know, even in making the noise, there's someone who never knew of the right that you're fighting for, and through your advocacy, they get to know of it. You've continued as the SRC to bridge the gap, and I'd like to take this time to also acknowledge your call for greater transparency from government, for more responsiveness, and more inclusion in policy discussions. But once again, you have the responsibility to be proactive. And a very easy example is how a call was made to all Botswana for the National Economic Transformation Program. And that is an opportunity for you to be included in the transformation of our country. And I hope that as SRC, you will use this opportunity to rally every other student to be a part of it. It's very important for this community of scholars, being the university, to cultivate your skills, your knowledge, as I said earlier, your expertise in your chosen fields. It's very important for you to perfect that craft, but it's also very important for you, or for the university rather, to be that gateway to keeping you informed, engaged, and being responsible. And this is because, honestly, civic education is something that we cannot run away from, the fact that it provides you with the foundational knowledge of how democratic systems work. And there's nothing more powerful than knowledge. Nothing. It goes back to the question that I asked, that do you think that students know their rights, know fundamentals, know their responsibility as well? But I'm also grateful for the work that is being done through engagements such as this one, because by doing this and by debating on important topics that, like the general elections, it's an opportunity for students to analyze all these complex issues that, all these complex political issues rather, and to evaluate your different perspectives and engage in civil discourse for the betterment of our country. But as I said, I just want to note how this is the perfect place, and once again, it's still a call to action by leaders, is the great space to ensure that all Botswana from all walks of life and across the world, the country rather, get to know what is happening in the country. As I near my conclusion, I would like to speak on the work that the ministry is doing to bridge the gaps that we have just spoken about. The current National Youth Policy, year 2010, and the Ministry of Youth and Gender Affairs is currently under the review of the National Youth Policy, as you can imagine, 15 years later. But that is not something to cry about. It's an opportunity, perfect opportunity to craft something that is not just an upgrade, but something that is alive to the true realities of young people today. Now, How many of you have been a part of that process? Once again, young people were invited for it. Anyone? National Youth Policy Review. Oh, great. Let me just note that from the International Youth Day, there was a request by the young people to have one final validation session before this policy goes to Parliament. And so I encourage you to be a part of it. I believe it's going to be sometime next week. You can follow our pages as well as media outlets to get the exact date of when it will be. This is a great opportunity for you to inform a policy that is going to guide the development of the Youth Development Act. Quite often, re le banana, re eletsa gore ebe molao o tlama dilo tse dingwe. It's not just verbal commitments, it's not just policy commitments. I know how much I advocate for things to be in the law. I have a sense of comfort and trust in the law. It might also be because of my legal background. But I know that that sense of trust and comfort, and it's also there amongst young people. And so don't just look at this as a way of informing policy and thereafter strategy. No, this policy will guide the crafting of the Youth Development Act. And so it's very important that we all put our minds together in crafting it. I can note that the version that has already been developed does speak to civic education, and I hope that you will be there, civic participation rather. I hope you will be there next week as we polish it up to really decide whether that which we have proposed is adequate or whether we can enhance it more. It speaks to the development of a national youth parliament, as you have asked. It also speaks to the establishment of a national youth commission, which will provide more structured platforms for youth engagement, which we believe are currently lagging behind. And so once again, I invite you to be a part of it. I also like to note that I have recently appointed new members of the Botswana National Youth Council. How many of you know the National Youth Council board members? Hey, you have a lot of assignments from tonight. Now, how it works is, as a minister, I'm representing you. Fortunately, I happen to be young myself. But as we know, that's not always the case. And so there's the Botswana National Youth Council, which has representatives from various districts, from various walks of life, various disciplines, and that role is to advise the minister on your behalf. So it's very important that you have a relationship with the Botswana National Youth Council and to know who your board members are. As I've said, I was very intentional in my selection, ensuring that there's someone who is well-versed in climate action, someone is an economist, someone in health, someone in social welfare, someone in entrepreneurship. And like I said, they're dispersed around the country. And the purpose of that, ke gore ngwana yo ko ga khibana a ba itse gore nka letsa wa bona. Ke mo raya ke re ke kopa o bolelle tona gore nna dikeletso tsa me ke itse. Akere, as we know, even political engagement or civic engagement has levels to it, structures to it. And so it's very important for you to have that relationship. And I encourage the SRCs as well and the leaders to have that relationship with the Botswana National Youth Council, because they are the ones who advocate for you in all rooms, to be honest. I can tell you there are so many times that my team have brought proposals, say funding proposals for BNYC has grants. I'm not sure if you're aware, youth grants for youth serving organizations. And I said, we need to be transparent in how we're dispersing this money. There's not a lot of it. But the very least we can do is that every young Motswana, every organization can have a shot at it, not where someone who knows can walk in and apply. So we need to be transparent. And so we've been developing funding guidelines. And so my team brought these funding guidelines. And my first question was, what did the board say about them? The National Youth Policy. When it came, I said, were the BNYC board members in the room? Do you see the importance of you having a relationship with the board members? I unfortunately cannot say was all of you be in the room. But I can definitely say are the people who we have chosen to be the advisors to the minister, who carry the voices, aspirations, dreams, demands by the young people, were they in the room? It's something I'm very intentional about. And so I ask that the SRC build that relationship, but once again, as one of the priorities, which they have crafted themselves, one of the priorities is civic engagement. They have assured me that very soon they will be launching the programs that they've been working on. You will know that Botswana National Youth Council hasn't been very active over the past years, and that's something that is our priority to change. We are currently refurbishing youth centers across the country. And this is because we want to create safe spaces for young people, not only to innovate, not only to co-create, but also for you to be there to share and to engage on leadership and civic engagement, for you to have spaces to be young people and do whatever young people do. I get. As I close, I would like to remind you once again that as leaders, ke a le kopa Thabathong, ke a le kopa ka leina la ga Jesu, yo o tshelang, use your influence for good. For good. If it's for optics, I hope you don't sleep at night. I cannot imagine you using the trust that Botswana young people like yourselves have given you for optics. I cannot imagine how you can sleep at night. Modimo o re hile letswalo rotlhe. If it is for personal gain, once again, you are misplaced. Please consider business. Be a businessman. Leadership is about real impact. It's about real lives being changed. Now, sometimes it comes with a lot of chaos. The chaos of not playing to the gallery. I personally experienced that because I don't play to the gallery. Because I commit to what I say, and so I will not say things that I do not mean. As leaders, we ought to use and put all of our efforts for real good, for real change. Everything that we do, even at a high level, we need to know how it trickles down to individuals. It's something that I say quite honestly, every time I meet leaders who are in touch with reality, I think this is the most perfect person to lead. An example which I give very often is one of our board members from BNYC, earlier, her name is Wabona, she's from Tsabong. And she's one of the people who I thought, I think I'm gonna blow my own horn. This must have been one of the best people I've picked for leadership. She did her interview, wana gagalla in the background. And I asked her, don't you want to reschedule maybe? She said, I don't want to miss this opportunity. And I said, you will not be prejudiced. And she said, I really want to do it. And she aced it. And the entire time, while I respect high-level dialogues, the entire time she was speaking of the few young girls that she knows by name who fell pregnant at 12 and what she has done to help them. The few times she was talking about, Minister, I have to be there. She was talking about alcohol and substance abuse, real life issues. Real, tangible issues. And she was speaking of how she actively, directly, tangibly resolves those issues. So at a high level, obviously, we don't always get an opportunity to trickle down to implementation, but everything that we do, we must have that vision and that foresight of how it impacts an ordinary Motswana on an ordinary day. So please, I ask you to use your leadership for real impact, for real change, and to address real life issues. Once again, I cannot close without speaking about gender disparities. Young man, you have a responsibility, it's unwritten, but you have a responsibility to contribute to leveling the playing field, not making it more uneven. Currently, you're the ones who assume those positions of leadership. And while we strive for gender equality, you occupy those seats. You have a responsibility to even acquaint yourself on what gender is and what gender disparities are. Okay? Because you occupy those seats. And quite often when I say this, I think people think of it at a high level. No, you have sisters. You have aunts. Imagine your aunt wanting to be a politician and having to play a dirty game because that's what male counterparts have made it to be. Your mother. You will have daughters. My brother gets very offended when I say this. Every time he asks me about anything, I say, you know, say he asks me about relationships. I'll say, "Ubana so sirang, bo baby girl, basintir." I get how I'm someone's sister. Do they? That's the reality of it. That's the reality of it. So as a male leader, when you don't impact change, everything that happens, it's not just happening to other people's sisters and mothers and nieces. It's happening to your own. You are actively contributing. Not only are you omitting to help them, you are actively part of the problem. If you choose to not realize that gender inequality is a real issue in Botswana, and that for as long as we have many male leaders, which we so dearly love and adore, if these male leaders are not aware of gender disparities and do not directly address them, and this is something I say all the time, you're in that position of leadership, but trust me, it affects your loved ones too. And someone else is in that position of leadership, it may not be you, but it affects your sister, it affects your daughter, your niece. And so we ought to think of it that way. These are people we live with, and we have to live with them in a safe Botswana. My ladies, now I'm coming to you. The reality of the situation is you have, the way the playing field is not leveled, you do have to put in more work. It's the sacrifice you have to make. Ah, you sound sad. Look at you quieting down. Sounds sad, isn't it? But that's the reality of it. When it's a woman and when it's a young person, quality is questioned. You know, I had a meeting with Botswana Youth Constructors Association, and they were saying, "Minister, we need jobs. Minister, we want to be a part of all the construction that's happening in the country." And I said, I've actually really been advocating for that. But every single time, I'm told that your quality is not up to par. And they said, how dare they? When an old person's building falls, no one says anything. But because we are young, we'll mention it. How many people actually get tenders and they don't deliver? But when it's young people, we will note it. It's the same with women. The scrutiny, even in leadership, is the same. And we have that responsibility to not only work hard, but also to capacitate our male counterparts on these gender disparities and to help them to become aware so that we can work together. Mind you, it's not even a competition. We need to all work together in order to achieve gender equality in Botswana. I aspire to see a Botswana where we have so many women in parliament. I personally get anxiety when I miss cabinet because I think it's one less woman. And cabinet is every Wednesday, by the way, so you can imagine. So anytime I'm not in the country, I get proper anxiety. And if I know that my female counterparts are also not around, I actually get genuinely worried. Because I want female voices in the room. With that being said, 2029, likai, ba 2029. Ako nang. Bomme ba 2029 bagay. I'm being very serious. I ask this in every room, and that is because the ministry is partnering with all women's leagues of political parties in order to pursue this mandate of increasing women's participation in politics. And so it starts with you here being trained now. It starts with you being guided by Dr. Silulwani from Emang Basadi, who fought for gender equality from Beijing 30. Right? And so on a very serious note, when we do make that call for all the young women who are serious about taking space in political leadership, I hope that you do answer, because Botswana will definitely be better with more women in leadership. I thank you for your kind attention, and I wish you a pleasant night.
May we all sit? Thank you very much, Lesego. That was insightful, inspirational, and challenging. I hope we all paid attention. Can we be attentive? I hope we were all attentive and we were inspired by her words. We are an important part of policy formulation and development, and sadly, not many of us have been to any pizza from the questions you posed. I encourage all of you to be a part of these exercises, national exercises about policy formulation and development, so that we can all be heard. And this moment, as we continue with our program, this is the best moment, probably the moment we have been waiting for. Can I please have our SRC presidents from the following institutions to come over and occupy these chairs? BIC, Boto, Baisaho, IDM, UB, and Buan. Kindly. BIC, Boto, Baisaho, UB, Buan.
I've seen him at her pizza.
Oh, wonderful stuff. A round of applause for him, please. Don't be jealous, do it with energy. Okay. Looks like we have only 4 out of 6. Can I establish BAC? Do we have a rep? Thank you, sir. Boto. Thank you, sir. Baisaro. IDM. UB. Buan. That's sad. How come? How do we not have UB and Buan? But it's okay. I will have, let us say, this will be our rules for the panel discussion. Since we're supposed to have 6 SRC presidents, we have 4. I should think we should give them each 6 minutes to respond to the questions that will be posed to them. And there is Renee Lue somewhere. Where are you, Renee Lue? Our timekeeper, there she is. We will only let you know when there's a minute to go. Please, SRC presidents. When there's a minute to go, check her out as you express yourself to see how much time you have. And I have this mic. It will roll over from one speaker to the next. We will we will respond to questions in this order: BAC, Boto, Baisaho, IDM. So can you please maybe arrange yourselves in that order so that the mic moves with ease? BAC, Boto, Baisaho IDM. This is not dictatorial, okay? It comes in no particular order. We don't want to disadvantage anyone. This is going to be the first question. As soon as you're done, you'll roll over the mic to the next speaker. I won't be saying anything. This is the first question. Please be attentive, and our audience be attentive. Questions and comments will follow. We want you to engage them and just be hard on them. It's still fine. This is the first question. In light of the rising cases of GBV in the country, what are you as SRC leaders doing to combat this issue on campus? I'll repeat. In light of the rising cases of GBV in the country, what are you as SRC leaders doing to combat this issue on campus? Over to you.
Good evening, everyone. My distinguished guest, Honourable Lesego Chombo. My name is Dua Sekalaba, and I'm the BAC SRC President, Gaborone Campus. The question says, in the light of the rising cases of GBV in the country, what are we as SRC leaders doing to combat this issue? Let me just state that the SRC leaders, or the leaders, are given a privilege to attend the GB events that sometimes tend to be expensive for our students. So having to attend or be in the forum of attending the GBV dedicated events, we learn, we get knowledge from these events. Then we go back to our students, we teach them, or we revert back the message that we learned from the events at GBV. Not only attending events, we also boost up these events that are dedicated to GBV, so that our students can attend, learn, and know how to deal with such cases, know where to report such cases. Right? We have, in BAC in a very long time, we haven't had GBV cases, but last semester we had a consistently rising cases of gender-based violence. That's when we now, it was happening in campus, that's when we now had to have a meeting with our security guards around campus. Whenever they see these things happen, Baska it's about to intervene. What we did as the SRC was to tighten and strengthen the security guards more campus in Yarona to attend to such cases. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. All protocol observed. My name is Samuel Khusiami from Botswana University. To answer the question of what we as the SRC are doing to combat GBV. From Botswana University, currently we do not have programs that are specific to GBV. But what we do as the SRC, we give out contracts to people who do business in the school. So out of 18 business people in Botswana University, 16 of them are women, female students. So we do this to support female students, to empower, to give them the independence of having to support their livelihoods without having to depend on a male counterpart. So that's what we're doing as Botswana University. But we did have a discussion earlier as the SRC, and someone said, we need to go back. We don't have a culture in Botswana. Everyone is doing their own thing. We need to bring back Bozale and Bohwera so that we can teach youngsters from a very young age how to behave, how to treat their partners, so that they are able to stop this cases of GBV when they become adults and enter into relationships. Thank you.
Right, thank you, sir, for this opportunity. Protocol is highly observed. Let me take this time also to honor my cabinet members from Baisao University. Well, in Baisao University, we are not just talking about GBV. We are committed to ending it with a national crisis as far as our country is concerned. We have established through the school a center called GBV Center Protection, which entails of hosting seminars, talks that makes it to happen for Banaba school, but I'm a bit scared, sorry about that. All right. Well, and also we as the SRC members, in partnership with the school, we host those seminars, those GBV art showcases to try to disseminate the scourge that our nation is going through. And also I would love to also commend our school, well, for establishing the course here, Masters in GBV Studies. It has been recently launched. It is fully accredited by the BQ, and I hope that also the Honourable Minister will go there and enroll. Yes, you should enroll. So, like I said, in Baisao University, we are not only talking about GBV, we are trying by all means to do all necessary steps to try to help even the government to fight what the nation is going through. I hope all of us are seeing what our nation is going through. It is very evident every time in our newspapers, GBV is mentioned. And also, not only hosting seminars, we host, every year we make sure we host anything that is related to GBV, because we once had an incident where one of our students was killed by her boyfriend. It was, I think I was doing year one at that time. I was not part of the SRC. I was the MC during that event. So the management of the school there, the director and the president, they mentioned that they are willing to establish this course of GBV to try to do what? To help the government of Botswana to fight this issue. Indeed, after 2 years, they managed to establish the GBV course, master's program in GBV that is fully accredited. Thank you.
All right, good evening. I'm Zwide, IDM president. So we must all agree GBV is a burning issue. I'm new to the council, but my council and I have had some meetings and made some key pointers that we can use to solve GBV. The first one is raising awareness, organizing workshops, campaigns, and events to educate students about GBV. The second one is creating a safe space, establishing confidential and supportive environment where students can feel comfortable to report incidents or sharing concerns. We have encouraged reporting. Like a year ago, we've had an incident in Loronai whereby some student was stabbed by the boyfriend, which I believe you all know. So we've encouraged reporting, whereby we work with the school administrators to ensure that reporting mechanisms are in place and incidents are thoroughly investigated and addressed. We have liaised with students to collaborate with authorities, liaise with social administrators, councillors and local authorities to ensure that GBV incidents are handled appropriately. Master of Ceremonies, I thank you.
Another round of applause for them. 100% masculine-led SRCs. Remember, we are live on Facebook. Kindly go to the OYEBO Facebook page, Organization for Youth and Elections in Botswana. like the page and share probably so that our peers can join these deliberations from home. You're really robust with your interventions. Let me move on to the next question. The second question. In the 2024 historic general elections, we saw a decline in the number of youth voter turnout. What efforts are you doing as SRC leaders to enhance civic education on campus? I'll repeat. In the 2024 historic general elections, we saw a decline in the number of the youth voter turnout. What efforts are you doing as SRC leaders to enhance civic education on campus? Over to you.
Thank you. But before I answer this question, let me clearly state the policy in BAC. Right now it has eased up, but it used to be strict that they are non-affiliated, non-apolitical. So they were not allowed in the past or these are any conversations regarding politics. So in the recent years, I think 2 years back, what the school did together with the school IEC was to have such conversations with students in school platforms where now the management can track what the students, what the leaders are talking with the students in those platforms. So what they did was to hold this conversation in the school groups to teach our students in BAC on what elections are, how to elect, what to look at when you're going for the elections. There's the SSW and the school had nearby poster in schools promoting elections together in school and general elections. We see back in 2023 we had in school the importance that the IEC had, the impact that the IEC had on boosting the talks with the students. Back in 2023, the stats for BAC, they show that only 400 students had voted internally in SRC elections. But going into the year 2024, 580 students had voted due to the boost that IEC together with the SRC leaders, those who are in power. Just last year, this year 2025, we had 800 students who voted in the SRC. So this shows us what we did as the SRC leaders to boost and to have such talks with our students in the platforms really helps. Thank you.
Just to be honest, yeah, from Botswana University, we cannot be politically affiliated to anything. Whether the issues about strike, 2.5, the general elections. The school has a strict policy regarding political issues. Even the elections for the SRC, when other schools engage IEC to run the elections, we do not do that at Botswana University. So I'm hoping they'll hear this message and change their mind on this issue. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that question, MC. Well, but before I try to attempt your question, I believe it's concerning apathy. It was my first time voting in this past, not SRC elections, the general elections of our nation, Botswana. I was never told about elections from my upbringing. I believe we were only taught Kubo social studies, as we have elections in our nation, Botswana and all the likes. IEC, we are told about IEC and everything, but we're not really, induced into the agenda of what really general elections are from our upbringing. And I believe we should start from the young ones, primary, to try to make an input. It's very important for you as you reach that age of voting, to engage yourself, because once you don't vote, it means your voice is also not part of what you want to happen in our nation. Well, in our school, the general elections came when I was still vice president at that time. We tried to rally Modi Groupung to try to encourage our students, let's go and vote, let's go and register, because there were times where IEC was invited to our school to register. In fact, Baisaho was one of the election points, Bonington North, yes, for the Honourable Assistant Minister for State President. So IEC came time and again to try to disseminate this information of voting. Yes, we are like them. Our school doesn't allow parties to infiltrate our system because it is a private institution. So we tried by all means, even as the SRC, to try to tell the students to vote, to see change. We all wanted, I would say, this change. Many of us wanted this change to see what the new regime has for the youth, even as they promise us in their manifestos. Yes, thank you.
First, I'd like to tell about comrade here that are missing out on not being politically affiliated. It's nice to be politically affiliated, Back in the days, IDM was not politically affiliated, It just started, it was so robust, so radical, so nice, So, Reboni turn out because no 100 and something, but 200 and something, but today nearly 500 and something. But me and my council, Reboni Holobo gets a dipalo. Mercadio gets through collaborating with local organizations like OYEBO to emphasize and facilitate your level of education in Moba Nimba. Empowering student voice, we can encourage students to express their opinions and participate in decision-making processes. So, as I conclude, to comrade Yanko Baganya Constitution.
Thank you very much, SRC President. Just out of interest, Boto University, are you not even allowed to group yourselves, not in, say, the GS26 that we knew from here? Are you not even allowed Botswana Tlhokotiro, one-time organization, just another name, and mobilize and run for elections? How do you go about it? Just out of interest, please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question. What we do is, if you campaign, you're an independent candidate. We do not have internal parties within the school. So you just campaign as an independent candidate, you get into the SRC, we work together.
Thank you. Remmereki, you should assist. Okay, we are moving on to the third and last question. I didn't think you exhausted all the minutes from the first and second questions. And on this one, I'll give you 7 minutes. And I want you people, you SRC, your excellencies, to exhaust the 7 minutes. I want you to represent your people. I want you to be robust. I want you to be vibrant. Now, this is a dictatorship. I am telling you to do that. I'm not pleading with you. Okay, thank you. I'm so sorry. This is a democracy. This is the third question. It reads, Botswana now has a new government under the UDC banner. What are your expectations of the new government for you as SRC leaders to help enrich your campus life? I repeat, Botswana now has a new government under the UDC banner. What are your expectations of the new government for you as SRC leaders to help enrich your campus life? Over to you.
Great. First of all, let me just say, one of the main reasons why the new government is the new government now, why UDC is the new government, it is because of the youth and the youth that voted, or the youth that boosted the elections, the party to be in power now, was because of one main important reason, and that is the 2.5 allowance. So tertiary students, or our students in campuses, the main achievement that we want to see from our mother party, the UDC, or the country, not mother party, the country's leading party, is the 2.5 deliverance to the students. That is the most important thing that we are waiting to see from our government. But as SRC leaders, we are not just saying we want the 2.5 allowance and that's it. The 2.5 allowance will not bring hot water at our accommodation hostels. The 2.5 allowance won't bring the proper mechanisms that go the toileting in our hostels. We face a lot in our accommodation hostels. In the morning, when I lesson at 8 a.m., you are trying to shower, there's no hot water. You are trying to flush, water spills out through the bathroom. And imagine some campuses that have those disabled children. Now this is a shout out to our government that we don't only want the 2.5. Yes, we do want it, but hop in. Our hostels this side needs to be renovated, not only in UB, not only in BAC. We are talking about campuses that DDT. A student has to attend college, yet we have a government. Our students have to attend Hosana meets. How do you survive when I was meet? And not only on the accommodation part, the learning environments, our academic learning rooms. During winter, during summer, the aircons are not working. The furniture is not suitable for you to write on it, not suitable for you to sit on it. The projectors high work, lecture speed times 2. How would we say? This is a shout out to our government that this projectors I know we're moving, and they're always preaching that we're moving digital. So let's go. All right, and okay, of the book, 2.5 allowance, we also need the reduction. Most of us, our campuses don't have enough capacity, or hostel capacity to take all the students that enroll in that school. Year 2, year 3, you have to go out and rent. So I shout out to the government, find or communicate, find negotiations, let those landlords find a student-friendly accommodation prices. I get. We also, we don't walk to school. We don't walk to UB, we don't walk to BS, we don't walk to Buitekanelo boat. What we are saying to the ministry, to the government is that the reduction in this transport fees. Again, we have, let's register this and a student wherever that limit or has on now we hit. 2.5 we live with 1.5, we have to buy food. Our government has to find student-friendly prices. So the main one that I will touch on as I'm giving to my counterpart here, we need this renovation, Madam Chombo. We need these renovations in our accommodations, in our learning rooms. That's the main cry. Yes, but thank you.
Please allow me to chip in a bit. Kindly use a little bit more English for our international guests. Thank you.
Okay. So this issue, what do we expect from the UDC government? I'd like to start by the issue, accreditation. Accreditation within the school, the course. The government has been sponsoring students to go to schools that are not accredited, to study courses that are not accredited. Students go 4 or 5 years, 3 years studying, and at the end of the day, they cannot register for ERB, they cannot register for Ministry of Health, so they are not professionally recognized to operate and to practice. The second issue, we need our member of parliament, mo parliament wa kgaolo ya rona, ke the vice president, Honourable Lesego Chombo. We were making efforts to engage with the Ministry of Higher Education, and we were unable to get through to the minister. The proper channel is we need to talk to our member of parliament, the vice president. So our member of parliament is the vice president, the minister of finance, and also a member of parliament. 3 positions, 1 leader. We need a new constitution where a member of parliament, the legislation, the executive, and the judiciary are 3 separate things. On top of that, a direct election, the president. Botswana ba ikupile, we need that. Thank you.
Thank you for this question, MC, and also to commend my fellow presidents here for what they have brought forth to the table. Well, our expectations as leaders to our constituents are a lot. As far as our welfare is concerned, as far as our finances are concerned, as well as our pursuit for what we want to achieve at the end of our 4 years, 5 years are concerned. What Mr. President from BAC spoke about, the 2.5 allowances, one of the things that have been looming in our nation, that has been sparking debate and all the likes. Everyone had their own opinions towards it. And I believe it's good for everyone to have an opinion, because opinions are very subjective. They are dependent on many variables. Sometimes it's very risky to bring forth your own opinion. Sometimes it's very, very good to bring out your own opinion to the people, to also have their own opinions on top of your opinion. We had a rise of student advocates. We had a rise of student leaders. We had a rise of SRC leaders who were trying to push the government to engage us as the leaders concerning their promises in their manifesto at 2.5 student living allowance, of which we've been trying, I believe at the start of this year, we've been trying to reach out to the relevant people, to the Minister of Higher Education, Honourable Maila. I've seen other tertiary leaders meeting up with him. But from what I've heard is that there was no solid conclusion of what should be done after that. So what we need from the government, we don't need much of the silence that we are seeing now. I'll try to also chip in Setswana. How tsaya ngwana mo lapeng o le motsadi o mma mo stilong mo solohetsa gore ngwana ke etare ga o ya go bala form 5 ke be ke go rekela di grasshopper, mme o bo ithala le gore wa go tsena go form 5 o bo sa kgona go ithalla tsholofetso o e dirileng ga o di dimalehela ka gore bankana ba go le bone kwa bana le di grasshopper ebile ba kgona go tsamaya sente. So ga o le motsadi o soloitse ngwana gore ke ta go rekela di grasshopper, o bo re ha sa gore go form 5, you keep quiet. You don't tell him or her what should they expect in the long run. Or maybe you tama rekela mo swana di grasshopper. Di teng thako tse di tshwana di grasshopper di teng. Ha o tsamela kgakala ka one or ke di grasshopper. All right. So what I'm trying to bring to the picture is that the new government should come up with other alternatives to try to help us as the students to counter what our economy is going through. I believe it's evident, and also to commend our president for bringing forth the audit. It's a very disturbing thing of what our nation is going through, especially even to us as students. Let me not say especially, but that to all Botswana, even the youth that are there that are unemployed. We need the new government to tell us the necessary alternatives while we are still waiting for that promise. 2.5 is there. We agree with the government where the economy is a bit down, and maybe other promises cannot be met. I'm not talking about our president, please. I'm just giving a scenario whereby you see Motsadi Hongaya Horeka Bujala from somewhere. Kamadian Hore, Ozulito Hongoru to Horekala Grasso, but you are seeing him ale drunk, Ahona Hongu Tekala sing, Selor Sebutoka, once. So we need the government to come to us. We have been going to them, they need now to come to us. I mean, leaders of these students, let's sit down. Let's hear from you what you are going through from your own fields. May I believe before the end of this month, we will be having a solid response from the relevant authorities to the relevant ministers for what's the way forward. I've been seeing His Excellency chipping in also on the 2.5 allowance from the seminars that he's been attending, trying to give us the roadmap. And to our leaders who are stationed in those tertiary institutions, UB, Buan, Baisaho, GUC, the times that you are in is not a one-man show. We need to come as a collective. There's no time to make a name for yourself, but if you are in that agenda, continue to make name for yourself. To us who are willing to commit ourselves, let's be one and approach the government and say, this is what we want from you. Continue to do that, but we want to be a collective as leaders. So I'm calling out to all leaders to support what we are trying to bring forth to the new government. There are many things that we can link ourselves into to try to make it better for the welfare of the students to be achieved. Because 2.5 but I believe the president mentioned all of them. I won't mention them. Thank you.
All right. I personally believe in meal subsidies. But to believe in meal subsidies and cancer rent, cancer transport, you have to understand the economy. You can't go to someone, tell them, I need to set a price cap on your property. Fuel on its own, it's expensive. So, you give us 2.5 towards elections, it won't be enough. Currency devaluates. Yeah. So, Goromente wa rona wa UDC, ga re na le mathata lene. Nara re batla go mo tsaya, re mo hold accountable, re mo pampanyetse, re mo re o no rurisa kwa. Because that's the reason why he's in power. We are the reason why he's in power. Yeah. There are many burning issues, and Honourable Minister, respectfully, last time, I'm a SIP student, and I was saddened by your silence on Kanyadi direct tender appointments and everything. Do you know what it means to the youth? Do you think you're hearing entrepreneurs? Everyone dreams of being an entrepreneur. But how we read the direct tender appointments and you don't follow the procurement cycle, you identify the need. What does that mean? To banana, those are in business. Yeah. As I conclude, yes, we want the 2.5. But to all students influential leaders and everyone. Let's do it with respect and know that ha re ke ra lose the values. Because once we don't do it with respect, it blows off the whole narrative. Ya gore re batla 2.5.
Thank you very much. There is a lot to ponder on. And as we sharpen our comments and questions, I have just one question to my SRC presidents. What really inspired you to become SRC presidents in your respective institutions? And maybe out of interest too, what do you expect from the government post-graduation? Just looking slightly into the future as the current leaders, what do you expect from the government post-graduation? Just 3 minutes each, Renelwe.
Okay. First of all, I've always wanted to be a politician. Like, if you can take record of my primary school, junior school, senior secondary school. By the way, primary I was a prefect, minister at junior level, and the president at my senior school level, and also a president on my tertiary level. So, I am an inspiring leader. Ke tlhophilwe ke banana, ke tlhophilwe ke baithuti. I'm here for them. Me, I ke ska ka ba disappoint. I'd like you to postgraduate and
yes, post-graduation, what do you expect from the government? What kind of socio-economic environment do you want to work in? How do you expect to thrive? What would you want to advocate for on behalf of your fellow students upon completion of their studies?
Of course, with the new government, you expect honey. You expect we dwell much on our own endeavors. We expect creation of jobs by the government, either in formal sectors, government sectors. We expect jobs for students because degree is just a piece of paper. You can't just go home, get stuck with your degree. Of course, you are doing this for a living. And yeah, we expect honey at the end of the tunnel to our government.
Oh,
Yes, please.
I should also address the same question.
Yes, please. The question is for all of you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
So what inspired me to be the now president of Baisar University? Well, let me give a bit of background. When I was in junior school, I stood for the post-senior minister of refectory. Unfortunately, I lost. At that time, makes sense. Yes, I would just be open. You know, ministers were maybe sometimes given the platform to the opportunity to so I wanted to be part of the SRC as the Minister of Refectory, but unfortunately I lost. Senior school, Shashe River School, my eyes started to open up now. I began to see the future from another lens. So that from Form 3, because that's where I got born again. That's where I encountered Jesus Christ as my personal Lord and Savior. So my eyes opened. We had the SRC more Shashe River School. But I was also a leader by myself. I would go out there and lead prayers. I would go out there and motivate students. Even after I finished my Form 5, I went back to the school. We are the first students to get into top 10 in Botswana at my time, top number 8 at Shashe River School. Last year they were number 1. We went there to go and motivate the students. Then when I got into Baisar University, I was part of the Christian Fellowship. We had a memorial service. The student I was talking about who lost her life, the memorial service, the dean asked me to be the MC at that time. So I became MC. I didn't know how to be an MC at that time. I quoted our scriptures trying to comfort the family that was there. So after that, the MD took me, Mr. Kabasiani, and also the president of the school, Dr. Thadu, they took me, oh, which year are you in? Oh, I'm in year 1. So they were saying, oh, there's this thing called SRC. Why don't you become part of it? Then, because of time, let me push. Then they said there's this SRC, but I opted to start as vice president. I'm here now as the president. So what I'm expecting, I believe it's a calling also to where I am as a leader, where God has placed me in SRC University. What I'm expecting of the new government to our postgraduates, like I said, we don't need more of seminars. We don't need more of motivations. We need action on the ground. What is it that the government has for us? Let it come from them first and come to consult us also. There was a time Buan postgraduates also striked, but we have a lot of land in Botswana. The government can just try to invest in the land that we have in Botswana. Agriculture is there also. Imagine a Buan student graduating and then they don't find a job, yet the land is there, the land that needs to be tilted. Let the government sponsor these people. Let the government fund these people, not out of bias, but let them sponsor out of what they have in their hands. So I expect the government also to invest more on agriculture.
You have run out of time.
So for me, one day I would like to be the president of the Republic of Botswana. So there's a starting point. You need to start somewhere. And this is where I'm starting. On what I expect from the government is efficiency and effectiveness. We need efficiency and effectiveness. When I was in the senior school, Kuhanti Senior, the bathrooms were being renovated. So this tender was awarded, the contractor started doing the job. They spent around 8 months doing the job, fixing the toilets, fixing the bathrooms. So what we need from the government is effectiveness and efficiency. For example, this thing here, 2.5, I believe it's possible. If we, as the government, decide to cut the employees of government, people who are 40 years being sponsored to go to school, government employees, if we cut that, there are students who go to brigade, then they come to UB. Some students go to B3, no, not B3, but BSET, then they come to UB. The students, especially go BSET, a student will go there 2 years diploma. From BSET, they come to UB, 3 years to attain their degree. So they spend around 5 to 6 years doing their degree. This is government sponsorship, extra 1-2 years of expenditure.
You have run out of time. Thank you very much. You can continue.
So instead of Ngwana Sumula go brigade or BSET, let them come straight to UB. Only sponsoring your degree. How goes Sumula go BSET then come to UB? Thank you.
So I'll start off with the question, what inspired me to become the president? Before I was president, I was Minister of Academics. And I had a very, very intelligent and intellect president who boosted me, boosted my skills. So I remember one day he told me we were attending a crisis at school, we had an all-nighter. He called me. So I was like, Sills, why me out of all the people? One day when I become an old man, I know you're going to become the best president BSC has ever produced, and I'll be proud of that. So I became the president, not wanting to disappoint him on what he has brought up. So I'm here because of him. I know we might have contended against each other, but I'm his product. So that's what drove me to become a president. So let me step up, show the nation, everyone out there. Because now I was the popular man, Ian Khama. So I'm here because of Luago Salishando, who was my president when I was Minister of Academic. So for the postgraduates, I've been saying this for a while now, that the government is continuing to have projects. Let them partner up with those postgraduates. Let them expose them to the outside world. This is how things are done. Let them motivate them. While doing such a project, come join us. While doing such a research, come join us. Your own thing, right? For the agriculture. So in Botswana, almost everything that we import, we can produce in Botswana. We import macaroni, but we can do those things ourselves. So we have a lot of farmers in Bopanda. We have a lot of farmers across the country. So the country can just boost these young farmers who are giving you this field for research. Oh, tell me.
Okay, you can continue, 60 seconds.
All right.
60.
So what I'm basically saying is that the government needs to engage with the postgraduates, by exposure to the researchers about the connections with other countries. There's manufacturing companies or they can have with our own in Botswana. We can be self-sufficient. Thank you.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Now I'm opening up to the attendants to butcher you, to grill you. Questions and comments? My brother over there with the roving mic. Okay, Lesego, you can start. But before she makes a comment, you can pass the mic. I'm going to protect her.
Me?
Yes, just a bit.
Okay.
She will respond to comments and questions at her prerogative, but I want you to be robust on the SRC Presidents. Please go on, Lesego.
Thank you very much. Before I ask this question, I want to give you an analogy, okay? And I want you to understand why I'm asking this question. What do you see? Be more specific. Be more specific. What do you see? Someone said a plastic bottle. Be more specific. What do you see? More specific. What do you, oh my gosh, you're being descriptive. What do you see? What else do you see beyond a bottle of water? Sorry? Myself. My hand. Okay, let's keep going. What do you see? Something that allows you to see through. You know what I see from my end? I see a bubble. I also see the words composition, mg/L 1.5. I see a few numbers. Do you get the drill? What do you see? Arubaneng. Oh, OYEBO. And you? Okay, I'll give you another example. What you see that side is not what I see on my end. It's the same thing. It's the very same thing. But what you see is not what I see. And I could tell you, no, this is my side, by the way, just so that you know, right? So you're gonna tell me, no, Lesego, it's organization of you. I'll be like, nah. Like 70% of the page is blank. What do you mean? you blind human being. And you could also say you don't have, your perspective is inaccurate. That's not the reality. It's a full page. There are children posing. It's the same thing from different perspectives. The very same thing. And that's the power of perspective. So my question to you, I appreciate the question of expectations, but it also grieves me. Every time I hear, what do you expect from government? It grieves me. Do you know who government is? So who do you mean you are expecting something from? From Chombo? From cabinet? You know that cabinet can approve something that parliament doesn't pass? Do you know that I can bring something to cabinet that does not proceed because I have not consulted you? I'm actually saying this from experience. Whether like, no. Well, the president, Ms. Chombo, you need to go back and really have a conversation with the people. So who is government? So when this question is being asked to our leaders, and we say, what do you expect from government? What do we actually mean? Raya, lekan thusa. Lekan thusa thabathong. Who is government? There's a hand, yes. Mm. Mm.
Students in the hostels will have that one person that they trust who can do things for them for just $40. So I would say it also starts with us fighting to make it a better environment for us. Rather than us say, government, fire the saloons to reduce the prices. Us also coming in a huge amount saying, we are going to reduce the prices. We'll make it, like the economist has said, it also plays into the roles of, okay, there's a lot of supply in this case, there's a lot of this in this case, a lot of people are offering this for Uganda. Let us also reduce this and also make it comfortable for the students.
Indeed, I love that. And that right there is also democracy. Democracy is not just voting a government in. Democracy, once again, is like how I'm saying that I will get sent back if I have not consulted you enough. Because whatever I'm proposing has to be your realities. And so my question to your leaders, paying attention to the fact that perspective matters. Let me just start there. I will not see things the way you see them. Because I was raised by Mr. and Mrs. Chombo, but you were raised by someone else. I came to UB, you went somewhere else. And so the expectation on a select few individuals, to me, I don't agree with it, right? That's my opinion. Now, having pointed out the power of perspective, that different people see different things. But the shades are how did you Are they dim? They look dim from my end. Are they? You see? Or or you might even see it darker. You'll call my color brown when it's beige, right? Someone is short-sighted, they can't even see. They'll say it's plain, it's blank. Perspective. Okay? Always remember that. When you expect someone to be the sole reason why something is achieved, know that they could never. Oh my Lord, and me, I'm favored by God, okay? Jesus loves me a whole lot. But even then, I could never have the entire perspective, okay? My question to you, therefore, is what are you doing? How are you adding value? I get you want a conducive environment for entrepreneurship. How are you doing it? That's my question to you. And please be very concrete, because whatever you're saying, we're reviewing the National Youth Policy, I get. But most importantly, this is an opportunity. We said leadership. What are you doing? And I don't just expect you to, by the way, like I said, I'm a believer in being honest and transparent and not playing to the gallery and not being political and what's this word? Diplomatic. Be honest. What are you doing? You're not doing this as SRC leader only. As a Monana, an individual, what are you doing to further that which you want to see in this Botswana? And I expect all of you to ask yourself that question moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We have, let's see, you look like someone who is in the cabinet from one institution. For now, I will not accommodate you, just for now. Let's start with the lady in black first, then followed by you in jeans, then far end, and over there in white. That is 1, 2, 3, 4. And already miss again, I go one essentially. Gray again. The men in gray, in that order. Very black perspective.
Dumelang.
Please, I'm sorry to chip in. Be brief with your comments and questions. Get to the point.
Thank you. I am a postgraduate. My name is Kempo Asante Mayazi. Question to SRC leaders. What do you guys do in situations whereby you as leaders are the one that are the perpetrators of gender-based violence? Thank you. By the way, I was the Assistant Minister of Youth and Gender Affairs Co-Model Parliament Botswana 2024-2025 cohorts. And to you, Minister, what do you do in cases whereby students, like myself, I still consider myself a student, whereby they are in need of funds to be part of leadership trainings in other countries? Because I myself got an invitation to be a delegate in Netherlands, but unfortunately I do not have the funds to do so, and I did send you an email, hopefully to be responded to. But what are you doing to help people like us that are willing to be not just leaders in schools, but also in the outside world? Thank you.
Good evening.
Dumelang, Lina la Mekeba Romotsidise Sorokolo. Botswana will be directed to both the Minister and the SRC Presidents. Hela yaka litse gore there are few ladies in leadership positions. What are you doing as the SRC Presidents and the Minister to ensure that more women are taking up these leadership positions, especially in campuses? Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Eric Carabello. And for the purpose of this engagement, I am the Student Power Gear 2500 Initiative Petition Starter. This is the petition that more than 3,000 students, still counting, intend to petition the government of Botswana on the issue of the 2,500 Pula tertiary student allowance. But there are a number of issues that we can address, but the one that I need to address the minister on, this government, we are being told that it's a human right-based government. That is how this government introduced itself. One of the rights that people in their state, in their country, should be able to enjoy is the ability to protest, to march, and petition their leaders. However, the students had planned to march and deliver a petition to the relevant ministry. And that was responded to by what the international community views.
Please be brief with your comment or question.
Thank you for that advice. Is that the students currently are facing a challenge where the government is resisting efforts to march, protest, and petition peacefully. As a relevant minister, because youth fall under you, to what degree are you going to be involved in ensuring that the students petition and hold the government accountable? Because we do not want to be in a position, as I speak to you, Al Jazeera, BBC News, and international media are following this issue now, particularly because the police has intimidated students from their right to protest.
I want to believe we have noted your comment or your question.
Can I please conclude? Thank you for that advice.
Yeah.
Can I please conclude? I have a right to air the views of 3,000 people who have signed that petition in this platform to the relevant minister. So before we get accused of labeling this country engaging in, what can be considered propaganda and everything, we want to be able to be given a right to petition without involving international human rights organizations, lest we be labeled as people who are running a smear campaign against our government. Thank you so much, and please be involved. And it would be very good.
Thank you very much.
Be there on that petition.
We have it.
Thank you so much.
We have it. We have it. Your questions and comments should be directed to the panelists, please. Your questions and comments should be directed to the panelists. The minister, the honorable minister, is here as a guest.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Tuto Melba Marekwa. I am representing two organizations today, UBPSS and Active by 18. I'm also the former Minister of State President at the Female Model Youth Parliament 2024-2025. I have a comment that I would love to make. That was a statement made by Reka Ilomont. He said, the government, it's time that they come to them as an SRC collective because they have been going to them. But right now my concern is, I believe as the minister is here, she's part of the government that they are talking about, but we have empty seats. And also I have a question, I have a comment and a question as well. The first question here, the GBV. I was expecting to hear you guys talk about implementation of psychological centers in schools. Even if they are there, tell us how effective they are, because right now I have a question specifically for the president of UB, who is not here, but I believe he has representatives somewhere, or how effective are those psychological centers, because I have signed up to be whatever that thing is, go the psychological clinic since last year, August, and even up to now, I filled a form, told them what my problem is, I've never been called. So you see how these things are not effective, and as leaders, what are you doing to make sure we kept this thing as GBV? And you also know this thing starts as a mental health. It affects us as students. Thank you.
We have had 4 people. We'll be looking forward to the last, and then we respond to questions. Our panelists will respond to questions.
Dumela. Oh, good day. I'm sorry. My name is Boaro Tebeitile, and I am a student in UB, second year student doing public administration. So the first question goes to all of you, the SRC presidents. I've heard people preaching meal subsidies, or whatever subsidies people are talking about. But we have to understand economic factors, that firms and private businesses, they are profit-orientated. So tell me, how are you going to tackle that issue? Okay, fine, we are going to bring meal subsidies, collaborating with a private entity. Do you think it's going to be effective and wise? I normally don't ask questions without advices or any perspective. I always ask question with my perspective. So I personally think that instead of sorry for using that word. Instead of advocating for meal subsidies, rather make sure that your institutions, the institutions that you come from, make them engage in these issues. Make them create a platform for students, because after all, 1.9 umunyane mohorong, the students need to be employed in the very same institutions they are studying in. What are your ways of overcoming such issues? Because the Kanza meal subsidy here, we are fighting youth unemployment. So while you are still at school, you still need extra cash to live on. We still need to come up with ideas. Very sensible one. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me give our panelists a chance to respond to all the questions and comments. The first question to you as a student leaders, what is your role or contribution towards the development of this beautiful republic? And what are you doing to leaders who are perpetrators of gender-based violence? And maybe I should give you a chance to respond to the first two questions in that order. Just 2 minutes each. We don't have a lot of time.
Okay, Honourable Minister asked that what are we doing as the SRC to, let me just say, to meet to meet the government halfway, the leadership halfway. All right, in BAC, I'm proud to say that Rona, yes, we may be preaching that the government our leaders banele a fee reduction. In BAC, we have already started that. BAC students, IDM students, BSET students, we have advocated or we have negotiated with the combi drivers that our students from 7 pula let us reduce to 5 pula. And that's a success. The taxi guys again, we may be preaching for we need fare reductions. We have already accomplished that. The second question was that what do you do when the SRC is the one who are perpetrators? All right, I'll give an example in UB. The guy who formed Wenambeula, that party that he formed, Kenema. That guy who was removed from the There's a guy in the UB who was former minister of some, Tanda, who was former minister in the UB SRC. There were allegations that Lene was a perpetrator of GBV. We saw that our leaders, UB, they removed him to set an example. We don't need leaders who do this. So this is, I hope I'm answering you, us as leaders, should you do that, we remove you from leadership positions. Hope I'm answering you. Thank you.
Okay, to answer the first question, what are we doing to contribute to the economy or better it? I have a strong belief that entrepreneurs are the people that build the country, the people that build the economy. So without entrepreneurs, there's no future for Botswana. So what I'm doing is, we have programs at Botswana University, we have E-Lab and others that promote entrepreneurship, where students are mentored, they have access to a grant, and are able to work with other universities and in Europe and USA. So I am advocating for students to join this initiative. I am supporting those that are in the initiative, and that's what I'm doing. For the second question, what if we are the GBV perpetrators? we don't really, we've never had a case of GBV at school that has been reported to management or the SRC. But if one of us was to do this unthinkable action, we would ask them to resign. Thank you.
All right. The first question was, hey, what am I doing as an individual? Well, as an individual, I become an example to my fellow constituents in what I do, how I carry myself even at school. I make sure to set an example, to set a blueprint to those that are coming after me, that this is how we should walk as individuals. This is how we should bring change. Remember, I said I was involved in my school even before I became a leader. You see, so I have put it upon myself that I will lead as an example to those that are coming after me, that this is how we should walk. I will mention integrity on my second question. Yes. Well, my dear sister here, she's not replying me on Facebook, by the way. So, yeah. So, if I was to become a perpetrator, GBV, well, I believe that leadership, I always emphasize, we had a community growth call yesterday. I was a speaker there, and also on Sunday, I emphasized it on UB radio, that as a leader, one of the things of being a leader, you have to host integrity in yourself. A leader is all about integrity. So if I would, one day of which I won't become a perpetrator of GBV, I would step down from my position and go there and rebuild myself and admit what I've done, go and apologize to the person that I've did wrong to. Yes, I would definitely step down as a leader. Thank you.
All right. So at some point, we'll just have to agree we are married to the BAC, and Yaka Buile, we are also part of the transport subsidies as a way of helping the government. We are holding the government accountable through the media, indicating hore khatangha sa khatingha diranyana sa dirinyana. The second question, we as SRCs do thorough due diligence internally within SRC members to screen Zoren Khanzabu, GBV, Zabuin. And constitution later, we set proper constitutions that rebuke Zoren Khanza gender-based violence within the SRC. So at some point, I GBV, God forbid, I will resign. All right.
All right, wonderful stuff. Let's move on to the rest of the questions. They are closely related. What are you doing to ensure that there are more women in leadership positions? And also, what are you doing to curb gender-based violence in your respective institutions? And maybe a slightly different question was that, how are you going to make collaborations effective with regards to meal subsidies? You have 2 minutes to respond to the questions.
Okay. Well, the first question, the one for female leaders or born men leadership positions. What are we doing as the SRCs to promote or to enhance leaders to become ladies to become leaders? So we do promote these ladies. A position, we do vouch for ladies more so on those who are in such positions. We promote bomme. We bring ladies who are already leaders to try and motivate the young ones onto stepping where they stepped. What level in the future they can become lady leaders or female leaders. The next question is, what are we doing to cap GBV? I think I have already stated this, that we do promote this GBV dedicated event We post these flyers, we hold conversations in our WhatsApp groups, Taskolo. We do invite the GBV specialists to our occasions or our events in BAC to come talk or just brush through GBV irutebana. We do attend GBV dedicated events, then we revert back to our students to teach them, not only students, even our guards go school and we talk to them about GBV. And we made the SSW office, there's a student support welfare office, I think in all universities. We made it easily accessible and very comfortable for students, but they can go in there freely and address their issues. Thank you.
Yes, to answer what are we doing to get women in leadership positions. So we have these policies at school for clubs in the school. In the board, we need 50% to be women, female students. Also, as I mentioned earlier, we have 18 traders at both university. 16 are female students. So that's what we're doing to empower women. Empowering women into leadership does not only mean getting them into the SRC, getting them into formal positions, but also it means empowering them into having, empowering them in their own adventures, endeavors, in their entrepreneurship journeys. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for this opportunity. What do we do as leaders, Kobaisa University, to empower women? Last year, around this time, September, October, we had an all-night prayer in Baisa University. There was one of the sisters who was attending all night there, a student. So I called her out from from the rest of the people, trying to empower her, not to prophesy over her or to do anything, just to empower her. That because I introduced my cabinet, normally when we do all nights, we make sure that our SRC members are there to attend the all night also. So she was there also, and I said to her, I want you to be part of the SRC in the next, cabinet that will be coming, 2025, 2026. That thing motivated. She's also here, blessed our current Minister of Academics, student welfare. She stood for elections in this past elections. She was scared. She would text me. She's such a person who texts a lot of paragraphs, but we are already used to it. So she was telling me, I'm scared. It was one day left to the elections. I'm really scared. I encouraged her, no, don't be scared by the people that you are standing with, because some of them were part of the last SRC. I didn't even see hope in her winning because the people were doing their work very well. But she won. We have her. She's the only female in our cabinet as of now. She's one of the people that encourages us. She will send you a message at 1 or 2 to encourage you, So we are used to it. Just keep on doing that, blessed. We love you. And also to tackle the questionnaire subsidies. Well, what we are trying to bring to the picture about subsidies, we are not saying the whole of Botswana should be affected by subsidies. We are advocating for a certain group of people whom we are seeing a future in them. They are the future now, but we are seeing another future in them that can be able to establish if indeed the government supports them, which are what the students that we are representing. So, to that subsidies, we are not saying the whole of Botswana should be put into subsidies. We are saying a certain number of people. Yes, thank you.
What I'd like to say is that we cultivate leadership and allow all people to contribute, male or female, and best, so let us not get disturbed by this ancient Tswana proverb that says, "Hanki dietelwa pele ke mana magadi." No, it's too ancient, and like you always say, all right. So in our centers, we have student welfare services that deal with counseling, and statistics show that students revert to counseling once problems have escalated. in which you are trying to curb and have more student welfare services within the school. To you, sir, regarding meal subsidies, in procurement, there's a term that we call economies of scale. So if the government can advise these retailers to use economies of scale, by the way, economies of scale means getting more for less. Like, if there are a lot of students who purchase boroto ka 10 pula, e.g., me, good have only a lot of students who purchase boroto ka 10 pula. Bone boja 12 pula. Possibility ke gore ba go rekiwa thata ke baithuti. And go benefita bone di retailers thata. So let us just advise economies of scale and efficiency. Ke yone kganyela e ka irang gore re kgone ka di subsidy. Go tshwana le transport issues. Like if you having to rank all day, go palama 7 pula, get 1 load, ka 5 pula you can cover 10 loads. That's economies of scale.
Informative, thank you very much. Just 3 questions and comments, but because our leadership is masculine, I'll just have 1 male and 2 females. Then there's a Soviet representative. I'll take you there, and then, okay. There's a woman over there, and Mayomo masking find. For all those who are not going to make any comment or question, please, I'm so sorry. It's time, Hassan. Please. Be brief, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Dumelang bagaetsho. My question, I would like Mr. Johnson to also have a response to it. It is specifically on the issue of the art of politics on our African continent. If you look at our forefathers, the art of their politics was directly made in such a way that it intended to address the issue of colonization in the continent. Where we are at current, according to the records of people like Kwame Nkrumah and what we see and observe, we're dealing with the problem of neocolonialism. So my question to you, sir, is do you think that our art of politics as a youth is fit enough to address the problems that we're dealing at current? Because we're here having conversations about political independence, but the reality is a political independence that is devoid of an economic power remains but an illusion. So my question to you is, do you think we have the rightful political ideology to address the current issues that we're dealing with? Thank you.
Okay, the next comment, please be brief.
Dumelang, my name is Angela Mokhokho, I'm a youth advocate. I'm new to the whole politics things. I have a comment and I have a question. With the comment, I'm going to be very honest, I'm quite disappointed with your answer about the perpetrators in SRC. Because as leaders, if there is someone in your cabinet that is a perpetrator, you cannot let them only resign. As leaders, we want you to make sure they're accountable for what they're doing. Letting them resign isn't going to change anything. They're still going to be perpetrators. Perpetrators will forever be perpetrators. That's not gonna change. We want to see you guys more involved. Help that girl open a case. Do something about it. Because everyone is looking at you. Everyone is looking at what you're doing for that girl who is a perpetrator. And when you make that perpetrator accountable for what you're doing, you're setting an example and you're showing people, look, as SRC, we are watching you, we're looking at you, and we will find you and we will catch you if you're doing what we thought a cabinet of good morals is doing. So that's my comment. So I believe you will change that part. Thank you. And secondly, my question is, as youth, there are a lot of things that we deal with. Recently, we had the International Youth Day, and we talked on the SDGs and all that. So I wanted to ask, what role are you playing as the SRC to influence the change of other things that the youth may be going through, or we will be going through. For an example, climate change, SRHR, SRHR is sexual reproductive health and rights. It's a very broad thing. But yes, what are you doing? What influence are you bringing? Because we have clubs that deal with it, but what are you doing to help those, not to help those clubs, but to spread more awareness? Because you have the biggest platform amongst all students and all clubs. So what are you doing to make sure that the word is spread across? Because I understand that this is more about politics and bringing everyone close to politics, but there are a lot of things that, yes, so thank you.
Emma?
I greet you all in the mighty name of our Lord Jesus Christ. My name is Kaoboka Khaleboe. To OYEBO, the minister, and our panelists, mine is more of a request more than a comment or question. And as we discussed, I can't stop thinking about that young girl or young boy who we've left behind when some of us proceeded to tertiary level. As much as we are young people here and as much as we should be accountable to politics and our civil rights, they are also part of us. So I want to know like the amount of outreach that we do to reach out to that young girl who is not educated enough to my level to understand that when I talk about politics, when I talk about civil rights, this is what I mean. As tertiaries, how much are you doing to reach to those who couldn't make it up to here? That even though we cannot provide you with academic knowledge, we can still empower you with this amount of knowledge. And I do request that in some point in time, please do an outreach to reach out to them, because they might be more than we are, because they are hidden in where they live. So if we are to bring them out, maybe a bit of voter apathy could be reduced. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Guns, bombs, blazing. The questions as follows, 3 questions. You're going to respond to them at a go. Do we have the right political ideologies to address the problems that we have? And the role of the SRC leadership in sensitizing students on issues of climate change and sexual reproductive health. And then the last question was, what are we doing as tertiary institutions, as student leadership? What are we doing to reach out to the underprivileged, as the privileged, the ones who made it to tertiary? How, to what extent, or the intensity at which we are reaching out to other sects of societies? Over to you, please.
Thank you for those questions. I will just start at 3. The question that came from my dear sister there is the support that we show to those clubs that are found in our schools that are trying to push those agendas, taboo, sexual reproductive in. I didn't hear the last part. Well, as the SRC, we have been commissioned to allow clubs to do what? To establish themselves in our schools. They come to us, have a proposal of the club that they want to establish. But on top of that, we are partnering with the Student Welfare and Support Services Division and also the Student Councillor to bring about those events. I'm trying to patahanya number 1 and number 2, of which we came from a health and wellness activation today at our school. We invited the Ministry of Youth and Gender Affairs. The stall was there. We invited Botebelo Pilo, they were there. We invited Bon Napa, they were there, and all the likes of those people that are dealing with such kind of issues. So it's part of the SRC also to support the school while supporting the students, to remind the school that we have people here that are encountering many things as far as their welfare is concerned, from outside, from their houses, from their homes, from their families. But we come to school to do what? To study, but not only to study, we have to also address those kind of issues. So we are trying by all means to support the students to establish those clubs. I have Mosadiko Pilo also, they have came to us, they want to establish that club. We are going to allow them to establish it. Thank you. The other one, number 3, what are we doing to do what? To reach to the underprivileged. Every time I go to my home village, Stono, the village, I make sure to meet the Khosi, I make sure to meet the council of our area to come up with I believe seminars are important, but also action on after seminars is also important on that one. So I've partnered with the council, I've partnered with the Khosi. When we close here, we'll be reaching out to those people that are underprivileged, setting up stalls also there to try to bring these things that we are experiencing in Gaborone back to our villages. Again, not only to host seminars at BNYC only. We need people to take their place to sensitize these issues to the people that are underprivileged. Thank you.
All right. As for sexual, reproductive, everything, clubs and other parastatals are in line and communicating with the school to facilitate education on that level of interest. Regarding question number 3, personally, I had an idea to make an event at school. I believe in CSR. Again, in procurement, CSR means corporate social responsibility, right? We give back to the community, emphasize that, and emphasize that not only through school there is life, but also small businesses bring life to the lifeless. So it will be done through CSR by me and my fellow council members.
Question number 1, do we have the right political ideology? I don't think we have the right political ideology to address the issues. On climate change and sexual reproduction, we do support climate change clubs financially. We do advocate for more funding for them. We have this Gaio Club. It's in both University, UB, and Buan, and also Baisaho. So we advocate for more funding for them. Then sexual reproduction, we have the Minister of Health comes over on a monthly basis to have a store where they do tests on STIs and also provide counseling and education regarding STIs. On the underprivileged reach out, I'll take it as a suggestion. We'll start acting on this issue. We haven't been working or addressing it, so we'll start working on it.
On the underprivileged the issue underprivileged, what do we do? Let now take it as a suggestion, but normally in BAC, what they do during the road shows when they're marketing the school and the courses they offer, they normally go to places closer or whether because to try and approach or those who are very far from facilities to learn, or apart from university, what else can we revert to? So on the one, sexual reproductive climate change, that part, I'm scared that in BAC though we specialize mainly on business and accounting. So unfortunately, we don't dwell much into those things, but we do hold a very big position in spreading the messages. Almost share, it sends a huge messages, or our SRCs are sharing some kind of knowledge and information. So we'll do that. That's what we'll do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen. Let me allow Ray Johnson to make comments or respond to some of the... all right. Okay, thank you.
Thanks for, I think, what's your name? Kotleho. Okay, thank you very much for that question. I think it's a relevant question. before I answer it in under 2 minutes, because it's very loaded. Have you all heard of the pulling out of ECOWAS after 50 years of existence? Can you imagine if countries, Botswana or Malawi, decide to pull out of SADC? It'll be scandalous. But it's happening right before our eyes. But the fact is also that for me, where I am extremely hopeful, and we can all live in hope, but we don't have anything else to live on. But also the evidence points to the fact that we have a leadership crisis on the African continent. And that's the truth. We can point to leaders that actually put people first and elevate Africa's interests instead of the interests of externals. And the roles of the externals have become more complicated. It's no longer the global north, it's no longer the European Union, it's no longer the United States, it's no longer the United Kingdom. It is the middle power countries that are coming in. The GSS states, the Gulf states, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Turkey. And they're playing a very, very complicated but long game that is going to affect your possession, your right to land, your right to food security, the blue and the green economy, overfishing, etc. But, and this is the last point I want to say, for me, what I am pleased about is the fact that there is such a thing as divine intervention, the law of nature. You cannot be president for life. Eventually, God is going to take you away. Now, the difference is how much damage would you have done by that thing, by the time that thing has happened. But I'm also proud because, and I'm not saying it because I'm in Botswana, you guys are proving what is possible when it comes to leadership renewal through intergenerational change of power through the ballot box. And that is our hope. And the evidence shows it every single day. The narrative that we have seen, particularly within the SADC region, around the liberation movement, as much as they have done tremendous work, and they were our beacon of hope in the times of apartheid, in the times of fighting racism, etc. But the reality is that the time for renewal and leadership change has arrived. ZANU-PF, in its current form, for example, cannot continue to rule in Zimbabwe the way it's ruling. It is not possible. In South Africa, the ANC, we have seen what has happened in terms of the fact that the numbers are coming down. And it's coming down because of you. You are the new leadership. And that is why I'm hopeful. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Lesego, okay. Do you have anything to say? Can you respond to a few?
Thank you very much. I will just address the few that were asked. There was a question on women in leadership. I believe that was the first, women in political leadership, to be particular. Was it you? No? Oh, it was her. Okay. As I already mentioned, just yesterday we met with all women's leagues from all political parties. Now, even they admitted that that was a first for a minister to call all politics. You know how politics is. You know, I find it weird because I'm not political. I'm just a girl. So sometimes I think things are so straightforward. We want more women in politics, so why can't all the women's leagues in different political parties work together? That's how I see things with my naked eye. Now, we met all of them at the ministry yesterday, and I can tell you that we have received that commitment that we'll all work together to first and foremost capacitate women, right? Capacitate women. As we already said, it's a dirty game, but that means that we need to come in with that strength and confidence to play the game, not in a dirty manner, but even the confidence to be part of a game that's like that, to also find funding for women. Women are heads of households, and you can imagine someone thinking, I can't take some don't even have the million pula to begin with, but I have so many children to take care of, and I cannot put that aside to go and run for elections, and it's very costly, right? But more than that, it's also to advocate for special measures. You have different countries setting political quotas, saying there has to be a minimum of so-and-so for women in parliament, for example, women in cabinet, and that can be done by the women's leagues, not by cabinet members. Women's leagues have the power to nominate representatives in different districts and so on and so forth. And so our role is to partner with them, support them in whatever they need to be able to use that influence. What internal party issues, whatever it is, internal party policies, internal constitutions, manifestos should be cognizant of those gender issues. The next question, and I'm going to train you guys, I get the next MPs, Danko. I'm very serious, I hope you are. The second one is how to assist young people with opportunities to attend international engagements. I believe that was you. Now, this was previously done through the Botswana National Youth Council, but like I'm saying, it was so sporadic. So if you knew, but I've given that prerogative to the Botswana National Youth Council board members to say, we have a budget, it's not that much, but how do we want to disperse these funds? Now, the grant system, it could either be we're giving money to youth-serving organizations, right? So you could have an organization that deals with mental health or sexual reproductive health, as she spoke, or climate change, and you're offering services to young people, and we could give you a grant so that you can be able to carry on with that work. It's up to them to decide whether they want to now give it to individuals. The balance that we're trying to find is especially for creatives, because and that's through the National Arts Council. They have a fund for that. With regards to individuals who need to attend engagements internationally, I am personally waiting to see how the board decides that money is going to be used. So I cannot comment on whether that will continue or not. It's a nice thing to give young people a choice. So if they come to me and they say, Minister, we don't want to give individuals money, and these are our reasons, I have to be considerate of that. If they come up with a model that's suitable to say, Nyame, perhaps it can't be from government, but we want to establish a separate fund and have private sector contribute for it, whether it's leadership, whatever it is, right, that different businesses have an appetite for, that's also workable. There was one on mental health. I don't think it's written here, but someone asked, I think they were asking to the SRC, but I just want to say, psychology, assistance, and so on and so forth. The goal with the youth centers is that there should be counseling and therapy services all the time. And we started that with the Gaborone Youth Center. And so to anyone who might feel the need, or you need counseling, you need therapy, please go to the Botswana National Youth Council Center, Emo Fairgrounds, and you can get those services for free. But we're also exploring partnerships in offering mental health services at the tip of your fingers. That is through digital services where we engage with different partners. There's an organization that I just had a conversation with on Tuesday, and they have that partnership with private sector. So for example, you work for Orange, you're able to just, no, actually if you have an Orange SIM card, where is Orange? Orange I can text if you need a counselor. Yeah. So please use those services, because Orange has paid an institution to be able to therapist, and you actually get it. And those are the kind of things that we're exploring, not just for young people, but as well as for survivors and victims of violence. The issue on 2.5, I'm going to address it holistically because I think it's really ilinzi, right? It's been there from the start of the conversation. And let me just start by saying that I empathize, okay? I love promises that are kept. I absolutely love promises that are kept, and a word that is kept. This is not a promise unkept. This is a promise delayed. And it's not delayed intentionally. The operation. So when we all sit and we look at how patching, that is not a promise unkept. That is a promise that is unable to be fulfilled in the circumstances. And I want to make that clear. The president will deliver his promise. That much he is frank about it. Does the economy allow for it to happen right now? Can't get right now. Ubile wa araba are no. And I understand the pressure that you have. Once again, I sympathize with it. I understand the pressure that you have as leaders to advocate. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. It's your responsibility, right? I understand it. But I think that when we're all sitting down and we're being given the circumstances, we're being given the reality of the situation, we can all, at the very least, acknowledge that this is not a promise denied. It is delayed, indeed, but it is not delayed intentionally. It is not delayed with malice. It is not delayed with hatred, with an intention to not keep it. It is delayed because of the circumstances. But when things are right, and when it is feasible, economics, when it is feasible, it will be done. So on behalf of the President, on behalf of the Minister of Education, I ask for your patience. I ask for your patience. We get to a point where we're all sitting and saying, I can't imagine my family going to the hospital and not being helped as an individual. As an individual. I get to a point where I also sit and think, I mean, health, that's literally life and death. And I would love for us as a country to be able to fix that so that so that my family can live to receive that 2.5 tomorrow. Do you not feel the same way? Do you not? Do you not want to live to see tomorrow so that you can get that 2.5 when things are better? That's the reality of the situation. So I thank everyone who has been patient, but I continue to ask further for that patience. It is not a promise denied. It is delayed, but it's because of the circumstances, right? And I repeat, I also love promises that I kept. And I agree that promise must be kept. It's an issue of timing, but it will be kept. And then there was a question on... Is there any other question that I've left that was mine? What about human rights? You know, there's something that I love that the President says. He says rights are not given, they're yours. That's your answer. You mentioned something about the government giving you the rights. It's a right. You have it by virtue of you having it. So I don't understand the request of being given the right. If you require me to facilitate, to request the minister to give you an audience, that's a specific, tangible ask. As for me giving you a right, the Constitution has already done that.
There's no need for requesting a permit. Is that what you are saying? The right you have it inherently.
The permit or the right? You said rights.
We have that right, but when we try and exercise it, the police intimidate you. It's a very, very interesting issue under the human rights-based government. That is what we are trying to establish.
What are you asking for?
We are asking, thank you for that.
And ask me, okay? Me. What do you want me to do for you from here, Danko?
As a minister of youth, the tertiary students fall under the category.
I know that. What are you asking for?
Now, what we are saying is that the students intend to exercise their right to march and petition.
Mm-hmm.
However, upon requesting for permits to do so, they experience what they interpret as intimidation by the police, which goes against the President's declaration about those who want to petition, to march. Because as a human rights-based government, as a minister who is relevant, what is your position about that? Can you facilitate that the students actually get a legal permit?
What kind of facilitation do you require?
They are your peers, the minister who oversees the military, the police, and everything. You see that they're a cabinet. Talk to them. Give the petition. Because right now the students feel nobody is engaging the police and asking them to implement the declaration of the state president that they should be given a
I need a specific, tangible, actionable, direct request.
have a direct conversation with your peers at cabinet
Mhm.
to facilitate this payment, to petition, to march against this government or for this government's promises. Can you do that? Can you write a letter supporting the petition?
I cannot support your petition. You are writing that petition to me. Who are you writing the petition to?
We are writing to the minister.
Mm-hmm. You're writing to the ministry. Mm-hmm.
Now we are saying the students are facing intimidation by the police, the DISS, right?
What kind of intimidation?
They are not approving for the permit to march. They are not.
That's the intimidation, the lack of approval. So what you need is approval for the permit. And you've escalated this at all levels. I ask that we have this dialogue outside, as everyone
My
is definitely
apologies.
uncomfortable with the situation.
Thank you.
And in the interest of time, I've already engaged with you on this. At Parliament, let's just start there. We've already engaged on this. But I get that you would love to engage to your peers and and the public, and I appreciate that as well. But it's something that I also said earlier about being intentional about what your leadership is meant to achieve, and I stand by that. I stand by that. Okay? So in the interest of time and in the interest of us appreciating and closing on a very great note after a very successful, incredible engagement with incredible leaders who have come here to be very transparent and vulnerable as we hold them accountable, I ask that we deal with this outside, though we have already dealt with it. Thank you all for your kind attention. It was great engaging with you. I feel a little more alive hanging out with young people. Have a great night.
Wonderful stuff. Thank you very much, Lesego. UB Political Science Society, Mayor Isabel Mokalo, please, with the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Master of Ceremony. Ke le dumedisa ka kagiso le ka pula. I realize batho ba shega ba tloga malapeng, so I'll keep it short. One of the people I was sitting next to nthetsa a re wa boa. Stofo se sempe se tshubilwe kante motho a ranna ko moshopa. O bone go neelwa metsi hela go sena dijo. So le gale he missed out on a very good opportunity to listen and to engage. Tonight we've witnessed more than a discussion. We've seen the future of Botswana's democracy taking shape through the voices of young leaders. And we've reflected on a historic change, the first in 58 years. We've explored the reasons behind it. We've discussed how our SRCs can champion civic and voter education and shared our hopes for the new government. And I hope everybody's satisfied. We did that to its accordance. We are truly honored by the presence of the Honourable Minister of Youth and Gender Affairs, the Director of the Ministry and her team, as well as the Executive Director of Organization for Youth and Elections in Botswana. I didn't forget about you, Mr. Johnson. We're also honored by the presence of the distinguished representative from the Open Society Africa, Mr. Johnson. My heartfelt thanks goes to the OYEBO team for bringing us together for this important conversation and for creating a platform where young voices can be heard. I also wish to acknowledge the SRC, the presidents from different universities who formed our panel. Your insights have been both eye-opening and inspiring. A special thank you goes to the University of Botswana Political Science Society and the University of Botswana Economic Society for your hard work in assisting with the facilitation of this event. And to the student population, both present and those who are watching at home, your attendance and your engagement have proved that the youth of Botswana is leading and participating fully in shaping our democracy. With that, I close today's dialogue. Let's carry the ideas and the energies we've created today back into our campuses and into our communities. Thank you and safe travels.
Thank you very much from me. You're a beautiful crowd. Ke na le mongwe o kopa go tswala ka thapelo. Ke kopa gore ka tswetswe, just pray and let's close. Please come forward. No sermons, please.
Lord, let me take this wonderful opportunity to thank you for allowing me to close with a prayer. I finalize everything. You get? Yeah, I would like us to pray. But before we pray, let me remind you something. Every moment of delay risk one's life, okay? So we are going to pray against gender-based violence, okay? Even at your home, pray about gender-based violence. No to gender-based violence, okay? Okay, yeah, let's pray. Father, in the mighty name of Lord Jesus Christ, thank you for each and every leader in this podium, my Lord. Thank you for the future of Botswana, my Lord. My Lord, I pray for each and every leader here, my Lord. I pray that you bless them with wisdom, vision, and unity, my Lord. I pray that that action, my Lord, inspire hope, integrity and progress in our nation, Botswana, my Lord. I pray that your spirit, my Lord, guide them, my Lord, to bring peace, growth, and the well-being of the nation of Botswana. In the mighty name of Lord Jesus Christ, I pray, amen.
We have refreshments. Ke kopa gore our distinguished guests leka dirisa this exit point, go to your serving points. Then rona ba bangwe re tla ba sala morago ha ba setse ba hitile. Ke a leboga. Oh, I'm sorry. Ke kopa a photo, senepe, group photo, gongwe for our distinguished SRC, please.